There are never too many sensors in a smart home, since it is based on various sensors that we can create automation and control everything in a smart home. In this review, I want to introduce you to two sensors for organizing the microclimate in your home. These are ZigBee temperature and humidity sensors with a display. As I said in previous videos, I prefer this kind of sensor with a display, since their price is not much higher than sensors without a display, but it is more relevant to visually receive information from such sensors than even through a smart home application. These are two similar but at the same time different sensors. One, round, is powered by two AAA batteries, mini finger. I want to check how often it will update and transmit information about changes in temperature or humidity. The second sensor, according to the manufacturer, also has its own feature, namely a touch button thanks to which you can immediately update the temperature and humidity data on the sensor display, without waiting for them to change. Let's check the capabilities of these sensors in more detail, check the speed of updating information, look at the capabilities in the Tuya Smart and Home Assistant smart home ecosystem. And we will test their operation at a temperature of -19 degrees Celsius. Characteristics of the round sensor, powered by two batteries of the Type 3A, mini finger, ZigBee connection protocol, temperature measurement range from -10 to +55 degrees Celsius. Humidity from 0 to 99%. Dimensions are 61 mm by 23 mm. The second sensor NTH10, also has a power supply from two batteries of the Type 3A, mini finger, ZigBee connection protocol, temperature measurement range from -10 to +60 degrees Celsius. Humidity from 5 to 95%. Dimensions are 51 mm by 16.5 mm. The complete set of such sensors is often the same. This is the sensor itself, a small instruction and double-sided tape for mounting. This is the complete set of this round sensor. But if the pairing and reset button for the sensor is on the sensor board, then instead of the instruction we can get a metal paper clip for resetting and pairing. And the characteristics and QR code for downloading the application will be on the sensor box itself. In the square sensor, as we see, everything is as it is, a sensor, a paper clip and double-sided tape. The appearance is basically the same, the entire space is a large display, displaying temperature, humidity, signal level and battery charge status. If you take a round sensor, then as you can see, it will have a larger display, but the sensor is also larger. At the bottom and on the sides there are holes for air circulation and, accordingly, for measuring humidity and temperature parameters. At the top there is a button that switches the values from degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit. At the bottom there is a small oblique cut, this is so that you can install the sensor on any flat surface. But I prefer to attach such sensors to the wall. To do this, stick the double-sided tape from the kit to the back, and attach it to the surface. To replace the batteries, we need to turn the sensor a little and it will be in our hands. Here, to power the sensor, you need two batteries of the 3A type, mini finger ones. After replacement, turn the lid and everything is ready. Before use, do not forget to remove the transport film from the display. The square NTH10 sensor has smaller dimensions, but also a smaller display. At the top there is a LED that blinks red when the device is paired with the ZigBee gateway. The display is dominated by the current temperature and humidity indicators, above are the current pairing status and battery level. At the bottom, according to the manufacturer, there is a touch button. When pressed, the current temperature and humidity values instantly change. But no matter how much I press it, nothing happens. As you can see for yourself, I breathed on the sensor, the temperature and humidity in it increased, and no matter how much I pressed it, nothing happens until the sensor itself updates the values. I could not force it. It's a pity, I bought the sensor for this very purpose and button. So here the seller or the manufacturer has a minus. The declared function does not work. It simply does not exist. Unlike the round sensor, this sensor can only be installed on its side. Both edges were slightly cut, while the lower and upper edges are rounded, which does not allow the sensor to be installed on the table. To replace the batteries, if the sensor is attached to the wall, pull it up. The back cover remains attached to the wall, and the sensor will be in your hands to replace the batteries. There is also a hole with a reset button and for pairing the device. This is what the paper clip is for. Next, hang the sensor in the same order, click and you're done. Let's see what these sensors can do in the Tuya Smart smart home ecosystem. I think everyone already knows how to add sensors. Open the application, click the plus in the upper right part of the application. Do not forget that for ZigBee sensors and other devices, we need a ZigBee gateway. I will leave the link in the description under the video. Next, put the sensors in pairing mode. To do this, hold the top button on the round sensor until the network indicator on the display starts blinking. Here we see that it has already been found by the Tuya Smart application. And in the square sensor, press and hold the button on the board with a paper clip until the LED and network indicator on the display start blinking. Here we see that the second sensor has also been found and is ready to be added to the Tuya Smart smart home ecosystem. You can view the temperature and humidity readings without going inside the plugin. They are available on the sensors themselves. This is convenient, and you do not waste time going inside the sensor plugin. Go inside the round sensor. At the top of the plugin we see the current date and time. On the other side, the charge percentage is set to the battery sensor. Below is the current temperature and humidity. Below we see the minimum and maximum temperature values for today. The same thing in humidity, the minimum and maximum humidity values for today. Below we see a temperature graph for the day. And the average temperature is 20 and 2 degrees. We can switch to the history by days. Here we see a section by days and the average temperature for the month. Well, and also by months. In my case, these statistics have not yet been collected. Below is the same thing but in relation to humidity. Here is a daily graph and the average value is 50 and 6. In the context of the month, by days, and in the context of the year by months. These graphs can be transferred by clicking the export button. Here we select the hourly, daily or monthly statistics to transfer and select the desired time period. After that, we can either send by email or share via messengers. In the smart settings, we can create various scenes to control other devices, so to speak, with one touch. And in the settings, switch degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit. Enable alarm for maximum and minimum temperatures. It is convenient if the sensor is in a child's room or in a place where it is important not to overheat or cool the room. We can set the temperature either with a slider or by increasing or decreasing the corresponding parameters under it. We can do the same for the humidity parameter. Here we can set the minimum and maximum values with a slider, after going beyond which the smartphone will send a notification. But you can receive notifications not only through the application, but also via SMS or a phone call, but these functions are paid. In the global settings, everything is standard. There were no updates at the time of the review. The firmware version is 3.1.3. Let's go inside the square sensor plugin NTH10. Here at the top we see the current temperature and humidity readings. Under them is a notification that the temperature is now comfortable, and the humidity too. Below is the temperature and humidity graph during the day. By clicking on the temperature graph we get to the extended menu of statistics by day, month and year. Above we switch to the humidity statistics. Here too in the context of day, month and year. You can create automation with one click. By temperature or humidity. By going to the settings we see the percentage of battery charge. Also the ability to switch from degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit. And unlike the round sensor, we can activate the alarm not from the minimum to the maximum temperature, but only by setting a high temperature, and there is no way to set the high temperature value. The low battery notification is also active by default. There is nothing interesting in the general settings. There were no updates at the time of the review. The firmware version is 2.0.3. In terms of automation, these sensors, like most others, will operate in if conditions. If the temperature or humidity has changed, if it has become lower or higher, and so on. Here are the triggers for the round sensor. Here we see the temperature condition, the humidity condition. Also by battery level, and also by unit. We can see the same thing in the square sensor NTH10. As we can see, the triggers for if conditions are the same as in most other temperature and humidity sensors. Battery charge level and set temperature values in Celsius or Fahrenheit. The main if condition. If temperature, if humidity, and then we launch some changes in our smart home. Heating, air conditioning, ventilation, and so on. Let's go to the Home Assistant smart home ecosystem. First of all, we will try through the standard Tuya Smart integration. Go inside it and reboot it. Now we are looking for our first round sensor. Here it is. go inside. Here we see from the sensors this is the current humidity and temperature. In the diagnostics section, we see the battery charge percentage. We can also see the temperature or humidity graph. The logbook is empty. Now we look for the second sensor, a square one. Here it is. Let's go inside. Everything is exactly the same as in the round sensor. Of the sensors, this is the current humidity and temperature. In the diagnostics section, we see the battery charge percentage. The humidity and temperature graph is also present. The logbook is empty. Now let's see how these sensors can be forwarded via USB dongle and ZigBee to MQTT. We put the round sensor into pairing mode and start searching for devices. As we can see, the sensor was found and is fully supported via ZigBee to MQTT. Even the sensor image is completely correct. Now we put the square sensor into pairing mode and press search in ZigBee to MQTT. As we can see, the sensor also has the same name, it is supported, but the picture is from the round sensor. So both sensors are supported via ZigBee to MQTT in Home Assistant. Let's compare the indicators. For this, I collected my favorite sensors from Xiaomi. Here they are. Here are our heroes of the review. As you can see, the readings are almost the same. That is, the sensors are completely suitable for our household needs. I do not consider a discrepancy of 1/2 of a degree to be critical for the home. Humidity, also almost the same on all sensors. But I am more interested in the speed of change of temperature and humidity parameters on the sensor display. Here I take a regular household hair dryer and start to increase the temperature. As you can see, the square sensor changes the temperature quite quickly, the round sensor lags behind in the speed of change of parameters. In general, this is already very picky. For home and everyday life such speed is not very important. But if we talk about the bathroom and automation of the hood, then yes, the faster the hood turns on for automation of increasing humidity, the better. Well, as you can see for yourself, the NTH10 sensor changes data faster. Although it generally claimed to have a button for instant change, but in general, updates occur about once every 15-20 seconds. Not bad at all, I tell you. The round sensor updates data about once a minute, maybe a little more. The fastest data updates remain Bluetooth sensors from Xiaomi. But in everyday conditions, updating data once a minute or even every 2 minutes is acceptable. Since more frequent transmission requires a faster battery replacement. I have already said in previous videos that almost all sensors allow them to be placed outside in both frost and heat. The main thing is to prevent moisture from getting on them. I have had similar sensors outside for several winters and they do their job perfectly. Let's send these two sensors to the freezer. As you can see, the temperature there is now about -19 degrees Celsius. Judging by the application, the square sensor NTH10 sends readings to the application twice as fast as the round sensor. 20 minutes have passed, the data on the smartphone has stopped updating, while the NTH10 sensor updated this data faster than the round sensor. -9 and 8 shows the square NTH10 sensor, the round sensor shows -16 and 2. I took a pyrometer. Let's see what the temperature is. Well, -19 is definitely present here. The square sensor shows -9 and 8. The round sensor -16 and 2. The sensors began to thaw. Little by little, their temperature will rise. But none of the sensors showed the correct temperature. The round sensor was closest to this temperature. But the rate of temperature change was faster in the square one. And now you can see for yourself that the temperature begins to change faster in it. Here it is still 16 and 2, here it is already 14 and 9. And this is exactly what happens in the mobile application. Here we see 4 and 9, 16 and 2. 3 and 4 and immediately changed 3 and 4. Now it is already 1 and 2. In real time, it also shows that there are 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and -3 and 4. Frost can withstand up to -10, this one up to -16. No one has managed -20. -2 and 2, -2 and 2. Conclusions. In general, both sensors show the correct temperature and humidity. If you need a larger display, then choose a round sensor. If the display size is not very important but the speed of information change is important, then it is better to choose a square sensor NTH10. But I would still choose a round sensor. Firstly, it can be installed on the table. Secondly, the readings on the display can be read from almost any distance. Well, I liked the plugin in the application itself more. Moreover, I bought the NTH10 sensor because of the presence of a touch button, quick data update, but it, as you yourself saw, was not there. A trifle, but not pleasant. You will find all the links to the products in the description under the video. There is also a link to a group in Telegram where you will find not only new products in the smart home system but also coupons, promotions and other communication and answers to questions. There are also links to the smart home forum where all topics are divided into sections for more convenient communication and information search. Please do not forget to like the video if you liked it and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss other interesting videos about smart and not so smart home systems. All the best to everyone, peaceful skies and goodness. Bye, bye.